You know, this is episode 30.
Bro.
Yeah.
Bro.
So August will be a year, and we have been in the book of Luke all year.
We've been studying the book of Luke for a year.
Dude. Well,
Wow.
almost. August. So we're in the end of May, so June, July, August. We're about 2 months shy of being on a year of Luke. It's pretty cool, though.
Wow.
Anyway.
Yeah, welcome to Modern Day Messengers, everyone.
Welcome to Modern Day Messengers.
On the couch. What's up,
couch.
Pops?
Only you.
Yeah. Yeah.
I stole Trey's dad's mug, and if you can see, it's a hamburger, and he's over here giving me a stink eye. This house is some beautiful coffee.
Yes, yeah, we actually have a Black Rifle Coffee / local roasters blend today. I haven't even tasted it.
Tastes pretty good.
Yeah, welcome to episode 30, everyone.
Episode 30.
I know, that's crazy, dude. Mm-hmm. Let's see.
So we started this podcast back in
bad.
August of 2023, and we're coming up on that now. And we have been in the book of Luke 2 months shy of a year.
That's pretty crazy.
By the time we get done with this, I think we'll be 1 month shy of a year.
Right.
And I think it's good. You know, you sit here and say, oh, you took a whole year on Luke. But man, I think we really, our goal was to really take a deep dive into it and look into the historical and cultural context and give the information for what it was and not put our own personal agendas on it.
Right. And so we've had to do a lot of studying to compensate for that, you know?
Yeah. Because, I mean, even reading some of this stuff, like, we'll have to look at it like, I don't know if that's right. You know, we have to get out of our own personal lens and see what the word is for what it is.
That's right. That's right. So, well, what you been up to this week, brother?
Working. It's been learning. So I started my FTO program on day shift.
What is FTO?
Field training officer. So basically somebody who, what they call as a field training officer, is sitting with me or I'm sitting with them, either which way. Actually, I have someone sitting with me now while I'm riding and doing all the work. And they're training me and they're evaluating me on how I handle certain situations or critiquing me and saying, hey, you did this way. It might be better if you did it this way, or hey, you completely messed up on that. Let's not do that. And I've had a few of them. And I mean, but you know, the FTOs I've had have been awesome, man. They've taught me a lot. And I mean, I didn't think I was ever going to learn the roads, and I'm still not perfect at them, but I'm a lot better.
Yeah.
And then the one I'm with now, he's super incredible at his job, and he's giving me all kind of good knowledge, and I'm learning a lot through him. And the thing is, he's younger than me.
Oh, wow.
So it's cool, but I've had to like sometimes when people get into situations, especially when you have someone in authority that's over you, and especially when they're younger, it can be easy to be prideful. But man, I came into it with a humble mindset, like, hey, this dude knows this job.
Yeah.
I don't know this job.
Sure.
And man, he's taught me a lot, and it's been really good.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. I've learned from younger people than me. I mean, so
you got to stay humble like that, man. You can't think just because you're a certain age or you've been through certain walks in life that you know best or you know everything, man. I mean, you can learn from anybody.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah, God uses so many things. Man, like just he'll use like my dog. I was giving him a bath, and like here's my ADHD going on, but I was giving him a bath, and dude, like his nails, you could tell like they had grown so much, and he was like having trouble. Like you could tell it was kind of making him irritated because he was on his nails.
Yeah.
And so I went to trim him, but he was fighting me. I mean, I'd go to clip his nail, and he was just going all over the place. And he said, "Yep." He said, and God was like, "Yep, that's you sometimes. I'm trying to manicure you." And he said, "You're fighting me." And I was like, man, so God can even use a dog. Well, he made a donkey talk.
Made a donkey talk.
That one time. That we know of.
Whew, a lot of notes on this.
Yeah, we got a lot of notes. So, well, let's dive into it, man.
What chapter are we in?
We're in Luke 21.
Luke 21.
Yeah, I just got back from vacation from Branson, Missouri, and it was beautiful. Very cool time. So I got back a few days ago. So now we're ready to catch up and record.
So if y'all watched this any amount of time, y'all obviously know he's a better out loud reader than I am.
You want me to read?
Nope. I'm going to read the first part because it's such a long section. It's like, what, 4 verses?
Yeah,
I'll take that burden.
All right, go ahead.
All right. Start at verse 1. And he looked up and saw the rich putting their gifts into the treasury. And he also saw a certain poor widow putting in 2 mites. So he said, Truly I say to you that this poor woman has put in more than all. For all these out of their abundance have put in an offering for God. But she, out of her poverty, put in all the livelihood that she had.
Yeah.
So, and I didn't.
So what is 2 mites?
I meant to actually look that up, and I didn't. But I know it's pretty much nothing.
Yeah, it'd be like someone having 2 pennies.
Yeah, it's not much at all. But
yeah.
I love the way that Jesus addresses this, And, we can fill in a little bit of context, imagination, picture, whatever you want to call it. You've got these people who have a good amount of money. Are you looking up the mites?
I'm looking up 2 mites, yeah.
Yeah, and they're going by the offering plate, and, they're putting in, hundreds and 50s and, $1,000 bills. I'm just using today's context of money. And here you go with this woman who's just putting in next to nothing. And what is it?
1/8 of a cent.
1/8 of a cent. So she put in 2/8 of a cent. Wow. And that just goes to show a little bit more context to it. Like she had nothing, and she puts in these 2 mites, and I'm pretty sure she probably got some crazy looks. Like,
yeah, right.
Man, what you doing?
Yeah.
But Jesus addressed to that, and it shows that he's not concerned with what we consider a greatness in the gift, an abundance in size, but the willingness to sacrifice all she had.
Right. I mean, that's
for the mission of Christ.
That's absolutely true. But yeah, just to clarify, that's 1/8 of a cent of American. I noticed you mentioned that we have people all over the world listening now. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So that's, but that is absolutely crazy. How you said, "Truly I say to you that this poor widow has put in more than all, for all these out of the abundance have put in offerings for God, but she, out of her poverty, put in all the livelihood that she had."
Doesn't it teach us a lot about comparison too?
Yeah.
Like, I know you being a musician.
Yeah.
You may look at somebody who's got a big platform, like, man, if I just had the reach they had, or if they had this, and I have the same things in my life, but man.
Yeah, it comes down to the posture of the heart, guys. Like, it's the thing is, if I have an abundance of money, if I have millions of dollars and I give, just as an extreme account, right? But if I have $1 million and I give $5, or I give a quantity, not that money is not it can be useful and make things go a long way, but if I just give out of just because I can, rather than actually sacrificing, I'm giving, all that I have because all I have is God. It just comes down to the posture of the heart, and I don't think so much that it's about quantity, but then the quality of the heart. So, all right, you gonna make me read verse 5 through?
Yeah, I took the burden. I can give you the small section.
Hey, that is a small section right here. Look.
Yeah, I'm giving you the small section. It's only, 20 verses?
Yeah. Just stop me if I get to a point, or if I feel like it. All right, verse 5. Then as some spoke in the temple, how it was adorned with beautiful stones and donations, he said, being Jesus, "These things which you see, the days will come in which not one stone shall be left upon another that shall not be thrown down." Okay, so just a little bit of clarification right here. He's talking about the temple of Jerusalem, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So they asked him, saying, "Teacher, when will these things be? And what sign will there be when these things are about to take place?" It's a valid question.
Mm-hmm.
He's giving them a sign of the end of age, right?
Yep.
And so this is Jesus' response here in verse 8. He said, "Take heed that you may not be deceived, for many will come in my name, saying, I am he. And the time has drawn near, therefore do not go after them. But when you hear of wars and commotions, do not be terrified, for these things must come to pass first, but in the end will not come immediately."
So hold tight. So right there, verse 9.
Yeah.
He said, "But when you hear of wars and commotions,"
yeah.
And a lot of there's other versions that just say wars and rumors of wars.
In Matthew 24, it talks about that.
Clarify that a little bit.
Yeah, sure. Verse 10, and he said to them, nation will rise against nation and kingdom against kingdom. And there will be great earthquakes in various places, and famines and pestilences, and there will be fearful sights and great signs from heaven. But before all these things, they will lay their hands on you and persecute you, delivering you up to the synagogues and prisons. You will be brought before kings and rulers for my name's sake. Okay, remember that, for my name's sake, meaning for Jesus Christ. But it will turn out for you as an occasion for testimony. Therefore, settle it in your hearts, not to meditate beforehand on what you will answer. For I will give you a mouth and wisdom, which all your adversaries will not be able to contradict or resist. You will be betrayed even by parents and brothers and relatives and friends, and they will put some of you to death. I mean, that's crazy to think about how there's some, and that's happening today, especially in other countries. They will literally disown and kill their own children over Christianity.
Yep.
Verse 17, and you will be hated by all for my name's sake, but not a hair of your head shall be lost. By your patience possesses your souls, right? So we see it. All of these things, and this is just a really quick summary of this, and then we can go into detail, but he's saying all these things are going to happen. Persecuted, you're going to be betrayed by your own family, possibly, and all these things are going to be happening. Wars, rumors of wars, pestilences, all of these things are going to be happening of the signs of end of age. He said, but not a hair of your head shall be lost. And we just read this morning in John chapter 11 when he says, I am the resurrection. He also talks about later, we've already discussed this, about how he said, don't fear the one who can take your life and do nothing with your soul.
Don't fear the one who can throw your body and can destroy your body and throw your souls in the pits of hell, basically.
Right, the judge.
The judge. Yeah, the actual. Let's fear the one who created everything.
Yeah, that's right. So and now
Satan can't do nothing but what this body can withstand. After this body's gone.
Yeah, he said, don't fear the one who can kill the body and do nothing with the soul. They have no. This is just temporary, y'all. And it's also very encouraging to whatever happens to me here. It's not the end. It's just temporary. So, but this just kind of reminds me of some Ezekiel 38 stuff. I didn't know if you had some notes on that.
I do, but let's actually finish these last 4 or 5 verses, however many it is.
Yes.
Let's get into that.
You talking about 20 through 24?
Yeah.
My Bible breaks it up a little different.
Oh, does it?
Yeah, that's why I stopped.
All right. Well, I'm gonna read 20 through 24.
Go ahead.
But when you see Jerusalem surrounded by armies, then know that its desolation is near. Then let those who are in Judea flee to the mountains. Those who are in the midst of her depart. Let her not, and let not those who are in the country enter her. For these are the days of vengeance, and all things which are written may be in those days. May be fulfilled, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But woe to those who are pregnant and those who are nursing babies in those days, for there will be great distress in the land and wrath upon the people. And they will fall by the edge of the sword and be led away captives into all nations. And Jerusalem will be trampled by Gentiles until the time of the Gentiles are fulfilled.
Okay.
So, like you said, he mentioned Ezekiel 38. And so just kind of tell you a little bit about the process on how we kind of get this stuff ready. So, for me personally, what I'll do is I'll read through the text that we're going to be talking about several times. My goal is to try to do it at least one time a day leading up to the podcast.
Yeah.
And I have study notes and notes in my Bible that will give you a little extra context. And I don't even read them till about the 3rd day. I won't read them at all.
Right.
Because I don't want to go into it with a preconceived notion of, hey, this is the way that I need to view this. I want to look at this through, first of all, what the word says.
Right.
And then, about the 3rd day, I'll start adding some of the study reading. And then I'll start looking for some context through through mainly one pastor, but there's actually a few of them, but mainly one that we've kind of followed for a while, and we really enjoy his stuff, and we really think he's very biblically accurate, and that's Gary Hamrick from Cornerstone Chapel.
Yep.
And when I was looking up, he actually brought a lot of cool stuff to this end time stuff. A lot of cool information. And he actually did go into Ezekiel 38 too. And that's where we ended up landed. So we kind of, so some of this, if you've heard it before, may be echoed of what he has said.
Yeah. But I mean,
I want to give credit where credit's due. And
yeah.
He's just so much smarter than I am.
Yeah.
So
he's gone through the Bible so many times, but his doctrine is super sound, and he does his homework. So that's why we love listening to him.
So he actually brings up Ezekiel 38, and did you watch that sermon too?
Part of it.
Okay, well if you hear me, you can make it help me out.
Okay.
But I'm gonna read Ezekiel 38 verses 1 through 6. Now the word of the Lord came to me, saying, Son of man, set your face against Gog in the land of Magog, and the prince of Rosh, Melchizedek, if I say these wrong, y'all forgive me, give me grace, and Tubal, and prophesy against him, and say, Thus the Lord God, behold, I am against you, O Gog, the prince of Rosh, Meshach, and Tubal. I will turn you. I will turn you around and hooks and. Ooh, hold on.
Just redo it.
Yeah. How far? Just at 4?
Just start it from the beginning.
Okay. Turn there so you might can help me too.
Yeah, hold on. Let me Ezekiel.
Yeah, I'm not. These words you're throwing me off.
And
the angle I'm having to read this is kind of making me lose my spot too.
Okay, go ahead.
All right. So, starting Ezekiel 38, starting in verse 1. Now the word of the Lord came to me, saying, Son of man, set your face against Gog in the land of Magog, the prince of Rosh. How do you say that? Melchizedek?
Meshach. And Tubal.
And prophesy against him, and say, Thus the Lord says the Lord God, Behold, I am against you, O Gog, the prince of Rosh, Meshach, and Tubal. I will turn you around and put hooks in your jaws and lead you out, with all your armies, horses and horsemen, all splendidly clothed in a great company, with bucklers and shields, and all of them handling swords. Persia, Ethiopia, and Libya are with them, all of them with shields and helmets. Gomer and all its troops in the house of Togarmah, close enough, from the far north, and all of its troops. Many people are with you. I'm actually going to read this part I got from his sermon, Gary Hamrick's. And it's addressing the thing where you said where you hear of wars and rumors of war, the increase of wars. He tells us there will be an increase of wars, but he also tells us not to worry because these things have to happen, and they're going to happen. We see all these crazy things going on in the news, and we shouldn't fear them. You know, God isn't surprised by these things. You know, these things don't take God by surprise. You know, we need to know that these things are going to happen. But that shouldn't make us heartless and disengaged from them.
Right.
Like, we should still have a heart for them.
Right.
But he also went into some context about where these areas are actually at in today's time, because you know as times have changed, the names of the lands have changed.
Oh, right.
So one of the places that plays a key place in this is actually Russia.
Is that the Rosh?
The Rosh. And they're going to lead basically this attack against Israel, but it's not just going to be them. Are you still in Ezekiel?
I can be.
All right. Do verse 14 also.
Ezekiel 38, verse 14?
Yep.
Okay. Therefore, son of man, prophesy and say to Gog, Thus says the Lord God, on that day when my people Israel dwell safely, will you not know it?
Okay. And I'm going to read, but the Bible predicts, all these nations will come against Israel so that Jesus' power will be displayed. All right, well, Ezekiel mentions Gog, and Gog isn't a person or a location. It's actually a title. It can be translated to prince or, president. It refers to a person, and this person is the prince over Magog.
Yeah.
And Magog is the ancient land of the Scythians, And this thing goes deep, and Gary Hamrick explains it a lot better than I am.
Yeah.
I'm just trying my best. And the Scythians, they occupied a territory of the Blackened Caspian Sea, if I said that right.
Oh yeah.
And talking about Russia, all of these verses they refer to Russia. Russia takes land, and they're leading an assault on Israel. And this is just before the return of Christ.
Right.
And like I said, there's a lot more to it. It talks about Persia, which is modern day Iran, and we see now that Iran and Persia, or Iran and Russia, are in cahoots.
Yeah.
Persia didn't become Iran until 1935.
Wow, that recent.
Yeah.
Less than 100 years ago.
Ethiopia, which is named Kush. Libya also was mentioned. And there's all these places that are mentioned. And like I said, go look at his thing. All you got to do is just type in
Luke chapter 21, Gary Hamrick.
Yeah, and he'll go through this really good. I'm not going to go through all his notes, but I did.
What I'll probably do is I'll just probably link it down in the description.
Yeah. And I know there's almost no chance that he'll watch this, but if he ever by chance stumbles across this podcast, appreciate you, and I'm sorry I didn't do your message as good as you did.
Yeah,
no, but go watch it. I mean, he does a phenomenal job describing this.
I do remember him saying something about this too, which is true. And so we always, no matter who we watch, we always do our own research
for sure.
But I just want to go back to earlier in Luke 21. I didn't get to say this, but he said, when Jesus said, "These things which you see, the days will come which not one stone shall be left upon another, that shall not be thrown down," talking about the destruction of the temple in Jerusalem. If you have noticed that it hasn't been rebuilt since Jesus' time in first century. So, because it got destroyed and taken away 40 years after Jesus Christ predicted this. It got, the temple was actually destroyed, 40 years after he said that.
Wow.
Yeah. So and it hasn't been rebuilt yet, and that's why, because I think, was it 1940 something when Israel became a nation again?
I believe it was either 41 or 44.
1940 something, Israel became a nation just recently.
I want to say it was 1940. I want to say 41, but it could be 44.
Yeah, but so close to 80 years ago, and so we see some prophecy being fulfilled here. And so I just thought I'd share that.
Yeah, man. But I mean, basically, this thing about the future and the coming of the end times. I mean, this is getting toward the end of Jesus' life. We're in the last week, reading in the last week of his life before he was risen from the dead. So I mean, he's really putting the heat on pretty thick. Like, man, you need to realize that at the end of age, people who choose to deny Christ or to fall away from him or not choose him at all, like, life's gonna be a cup of suck with a free refill. Yeah. I mean, it's not gonna be fun.
No, not at all.
I mean, where did he say it? But woe to those who are pregnant and those who nurse babies in those days, for there will be great distress in the land and wrath upon this people.
All right.
I mean, like, he's not mincing words. I mean, he's letting you know, like.
Yeah, he's being very direct.
Yeah.
He's been very direct about what's going to happen.
Yeah.
So
you don't need to be a scholar to realize that time's coming.
All right. So, Devin, let's talk about this this raffle that's going on that's finally live.
But let's also mention, this is our actual first real commercial.
Yes.
On the podcast. We always do cut scenes and come back because we got to go refill coffee, but we actually have an actual commercial.
Yeah. Welcome to Modern Day Messenger first commercial.
Ding, 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 ding.
Yeah. So the raffle's live, and so y'all probably already seen a couple of videos about that. And so let's talk about it.
So part of Modern Day Messengers, which is under the Men of Courage, Lincoln Parish. And by the way, this is not some private church or some private entity. Me and Trey also run that, but this podcast is part of it. But so on the we advertised it on the Men of Courage page. So when we were wanting to figure out how to get this thing going and kind of start getting things rolling and the ball moving, we actually presented the ministry idea to Willie Robertson from Duck Dynasty.
Yeah.
And he was all for it. He's like, "Oh man, that's awesome. How can I help?" And so what we did is we got a shotgun from McKinney Honda in Ruston, Louisiana. Shout out McKinney Honda.
Yep.
And they actually worked with us. And we have a Benelli-made Franke shotgun. It's wrapped in bottomland camo, and it's signed by Willie Robertson.
Yep.
And this is about a $1,200 shotgun.
Yep.
And then it's even cooler because it's got his signature on it.
Yep. We don't have it here with us today. It's over there due to
because of legal reasons, and we have to comply with federal and state law. Whoever wins it, they will get a certificate from us, and they have to take it to McKinney Honda. Now, McKinney Honda will still have to run a background check. But again, because, you can't just give a firearm away to anybody. You have to go through background checks and make sure the person's not a convicted felon or have protective orders or things like that. So you have to have everything squared away good.
Yep.
But you want to talk about the ticket prices?
Yeah. It's so look, it's active now. Information to contact us about that is in the description below. $20 a ticket. Buy as many as you want. You can just buy one. It takes one to win, but they're $20. Our drawing will be August 2nd. So you said that's the first Friday?
It's first Friday in August.
First Friday in August.
If you want to see what the shotgun looks like, and we'll repost it to actually Modern Day Messengers, Facebook, and Men of Courage.
Yeah.
We'll post the original video with the commercial on it in there so you can see the shotgun. Like I said, it's McKinney Honda's holding on to it for us. Unfortunately, I was told by my wife that me and you can't win it because we're running the raffle. And I don't think that's fair.
Well,
Anyway.
look, I'm gonna give some of my friends some money to go buy some tickets. Anyway, it is a very sweet shotgun, and duck season is approaching.
Would you actually go duck hunting with that shotgun? It's signed, man.
Okay, I tell you what. Any of the Robertson family who's going duck hunting, if you see this episode, and you want to take us duck hunting,
oh yeah,
we'll use it for that episode.
Hey, yeah.
And we'll document
Love
it.
to go duck hunting.
I'll get another GoPro because we were filming on a GoPro, and then my mom got me this camera because my GoPro wigged out.
Anyway,
so
if you want to get in contact with us, buy some tickets, or even if you just want to donate, say, hey, I don't even care about the shotgun, but I want to donate to the ministry, help get the word of Jesus Christ out, because that's what this ministry is about.
That's it.
It's getting the message of Jesus Christ, the gospel of Christ, to the world. And unfortunately, it takes a little funds to do that. It takes funds to run podcasts, it takes funds to run outreach ministry.
Yeah, and just to be open, just with y'all, we've had several conversations about this, about how we're not good about talking about money.
We're not.
And and doing all that stuff, and but we've had to come to an agreement, hey, this has got to happen for us to provide things to outreach for people. So, but we're all about outreaching for the community, putting on local events, and like Devin said, just to expand the word and preach the word of Jesus Christ to give them that hope that we've been going through. So anyway, if you got anything else?
Nope.
All right. Well,
y'all have a blessed day.
Have a blessed day.
Ding, 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 ding.
And we're back.
And we're back.
That was a nice commercial break, Devin.
It was.
That was a nice commercial.
I didn't even get to refill my coffee, though.
No, we didn't, but it's okay, because we're going to talk about the coming of the Son of Man, which is better than coffee.
It is.
So picking up in verse 25 here, and Luke 21, and there will be signs in the sun, in the moon. Before I get started with this, let me just talk about this real quick, because I think these kind of go together. When Jesus said in verse 8, he said, "Take heed that you may not be deceived, for many will come in my name, saying, I am he, and the time is drawn near. Therefore, do not go after them." I do want to add, there is a video going around right now, and I don't want to mess up this word, but it's similar to it's Islam's great Mahdi. I guess it's what they call like their Messiah that they've been waiting on. There's a video going around right now, a guy claiming to be him and saying that God is coming and he's doing all these things. And then Jesus is about to say right here about the coming of himself.
That's not the one that's like he claims to be the Lord of like all these different faiths. Like, I'm the Lord of Islam. I'm the messenger of Christ. I'm the
that's what he said.
Spokesman of Buddha or whatever it is.
That's what he said.
Yeah, like,
there's a guy in Russia claiming to be Jesus. There's a guy in Australia claiming to be the Messiah. And Jesus is about to say, you're not going to miss this.
Yeah.
Like all these false prophets and everything claiming to be the Messiah and all this other stuff. He said, you're not going to miss my coming. Everybody's going to see me. And so we just wanted to clarify that do not be deceived by false prophets or anything you see on the internet. Even our words, back it up.
Yeah.
Because we could be wrong about some things, but we know this right here stands true. So, picking up in verse 25, and there will be sign in the sun, in the moon, and in the stars, and on the earth distress of nations, with perplexity, the sea, the waves roaring, men's hearts failing them from fear and the expectation of those things which are coming on the earth. For the powers of the heavens will be shaken. Then they will see the Son of Man coming in a cloud with power and great glory. Now when these things begin to happen, look up and lift up your heads, because your redemption draws near. So he's saying that there's going to be signs, and you're not going to miss it. And then he said, then the Son of Man coming in a cloud with power and great glory, So he said, look up, lift up your heads.
Yep.
And your redemption draws near. So we know that when we start seeing these things take place, and I would say go read Matthew chapter 24. It goes into some more detail about this too, about the coming of the Son of Man, the second coming of Christ, and we obviously know Revelation talks about that too.
Yeah, I think what you're referring to, I think it's going to be Matthew 24 verses 29 through 31.
You want to read it?
Okay.
We got time.
We got time. It ain't like our boss man's rushing us.
It might be.
It might be. I'll get fired.
What'd you say?
Matthew 24 verses 29 through 31.
Yeah, here it is. Okay, immediately after the tribulation of those days, the sun will be darkened, and the moon will not give its light. The stars will fall from heaven, and the powers of heaven will be shaken. Now, and here's the thing. It goes into more detail about this in Matthew, because Matthew is obviously one of the disciples. So he would have heard this directly. Well, he actually heard this directly from Jesus Christ. So, and then it says in verse 30, then the sign of the Son of Man will appear in heaven, and then all the tribes of the earth will mourn, and they will see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. So, and he will send his angels with the great sound of a trumpet, and they will gather together his elect from the four winds, from one end of heaven to the other. So, we see right here clearly that the whole world is not going to miss this event, because when God comes in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory, you'll kind of know you're not going to miss that.
Revelation 1:7 says, "Behold, he is coming with clouds, and every eye will see him, and even they who pierced him, and all the tribes of the earth will mourn because of him. Even so, amen." And then Revelation 14:14, "And then I looked, and behold, a white cloud, and on that cloud sat one like the Son of Man, having his head a golden crown, and in his hand a sharp sickle."
Yeah. So there you go. Very, very good pictures of what the coming of Christ is going to be like. So don't be deceived by false prophets or anything. False teachers.
Seeing people worry about the end times. The mark of the beast, And I think we've mentioned this before. I don't know if it's just been me and you talking or other people, or we mentioned on the podcast, but I'm mentioning, people, especially like when COVID vaccines came out, people that were like, the COVID vaccine's the mark of the beast. It is not.
Right.
Let's just squash that crap right now. The COVID vaccine was not the mark of the beast.
Right.
Because the mark of the beast is something you will know that this is the mark of the beast, and you will willingly accept it.
Right.
The mark of the beast, and then you have the seal of Christ.
Right.
And you are going to willingly accept them.
Right.
You're either going to accept the mark of the beast, it's not going to be like no trick, like, hey, what's under hat A, whatever you choose. Oh, look, it's the mark of the beast. Here you go. No, it's not that.
You're gonna know.
You're gonna know that you are choosing Satan. It's not. Right. There's not going to be a trickery in that sense.
Right. Exactly. You're gonna know. You're gonna know. So
just want to throw that out there.
Absolutely. So don't be deceived, So here's the parable of a fig tree, and then we're kind of approaching the end of chapter 21. So verse 29. Then he spoke to them a parable. Look at the fig tree and all the trees. When they are already budding, and by the way, the fig trees in Louisiana right now are budding, and I'm excited because figs are like my favorite, dude. I'll go steal them off people's trees. I mean, I'd ask for them.
You know, I'm a police officer, right?
I asked for them politely.
I work at a sheriff office, and you're telling me that you are stealing. We'll deal with this after the podcast.
Okay.
I got my ticket book in my truck.
I know he's got a gun on him. Anyway. And when they're already budding, when you see and know for yourselves that the summer is now near, and it is, so you also, when you see these things happening, know that the kingdom of God is near. Amen. So it's kind of like he's saying it's going to be obvious, Mm-hmm. You see the fig trees, they're budding, summer's near, you'll know that the Son of Man is coming. Same thing. But surely I say to you, this generation will by no means pass away till all things take place. Heaven and earth will pass away, but my words will by no means pass away. Does yours continue?
No, I have another section, but
okay, me too.
You want me to pick up on it?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, starting in verse 34. But take heed to yourselves, lest your hearts be weighed down with carousing, drunkenness, and cares of this life, and the day come on you unexpectedly. For it will come like a snare on all those who dwell on the face of the whole earth. Watch therefore and pray always that you may be counted worthy to escape all these things that will come to pass, and stand before the Son of Man. And in the daytime he was teaching in the temple, but at night he went out and stayed in the mountain called Olivet.
Yeah, Olivet, the Mountain of Olives.
Yeah. Then early in the morning all the people came to him in the temple to hear him. So, as believers, this message should not scare us.
Oh, right.
This is something we should look forward to. This is the fulfilling of everything that we've lived for. I mean, we have lived our lives for being in a relationship with Christ and giving our life to God. I mean, this is a glorious moment for us. And
That's
so many
right.
people get scared. Oh, the end of days of this. Man, this is a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
This is when no more disease, no more sickness, no more sin, no more bad stuff is going on in the world.
Right.
But what it should cause us to do is work with urgency.
Yep.
Because there's brothers and sisters that do not know Jesus Christ out there.
That's right.
And the coming of days, it's coming. I don't know if it's going to be in our lifetime. I don't know if it's our kids or 10 generations from now. I don't know.
Yep.
But we need to tell people about God like he's coming in the next 10 minutes.
Right, because, I mean, every second's closer.
Every second's closer. It's not getting further away.
That's right.
So, it's something glorious to think about these last days, but it also ought to put a little hitch in our giddy up.
Yeah, that's it. It said, watch therefore and pray always that you may be counted worthy to escape all these things that will come to pass, to stand before the Son of Man. He's giving us a warning. Always be watching and waiting. And that means always be preaching the gospel wherever you go. We talked about Bible study this morning at church about that, about how it's our job to tell people about Jesus Christ and the Savior of the entire world. And sometimes we're not called to harvest it. We're called to plant seeds, and sometimes we're just called, like you said, to plow the field. And I love that because it really humbles you, and it's like, as a servant, sometimes I just got to prep.
Mm-hmm. And it makes you realize that you have no control over whether somebody gives their life to God.
That's right.
You just sometimes give them that foundation. It may just be a kind word, man. Somebody going through a hard day, you're nice to them. Then it kind of puts a little step up in their day. Then somebody comes along, and I'm just giving examples here. Somebody comes along and says, "Hey, have you heard the good news of Jesus Christ?" "Oh, no, I haven't. What's that?" And they, okay, maybe they don't accept it. 10 years down the road, something happens. Man, I remember that. Let me go read, and they read, and
Yeah, and I'll say this too. I mean,
you never know what's gonna happen when you share the gospel with somebody.
Yeah,
and they may reject it.
I experienced this the other day, Devin, at Walmart. We were going up. It was me and my friend, and he had to go pick up a prescription. There was a long line. The pharmacist just got back from lunch, so there's like 10 people in line. Everybody's like complaining, it's always like this and stuff. And the Holy Spirit just kind of led me to start a conversation with these two women, because they were just like, they were older and they were like saying some stuff, and the Holy Spirit was like, just talk to them and send out, goodness, and so I basically was like, hey, I know this is we're kind of waiting. I said, but how's y'all day been, or what y'all been up to? And they started talking, and next thing you know, they're at the front of the line. They're like, oh man, we didn't even realize we've been waiting in line for so long. And but God was showing me how powerful our tongues are. It reminds me of the book of James. It set sparks like a wildfire, And so sometimes we are just called to be that light in a darkened situation. And as long as the light is in us, Jesus Christ, we can therefore love people just like he did, and change the whole situation.
Reminds me of 1 John chapter 1. I was going to see if I could just turn there by luck and hit it instantly, but I didn't, so I'll just kind of paraphrase what I remember. But it basically says, if we walk in the light as he is in the light, which, who is he? Jesus. If we walk in the light as he is in the light, then we have fellowship with the light, and the blood of Christ cleanses us of all sins.
That's right. It says, in him there is no darkness.
In him is no darkness.
So, yeah.
But y'all walk in that light that is Jesus Christ, man. Bring light to a dark world.
That's it. So, thank y'all for listening to Modern Day Messengers, episode 30. Isn't that how old you are?
No, I'm older.
Oh.
But thank you for reminding me.
Well, the next episode will be...
Nope, I'm older.
Oh, okay. Then
we got a few episodes before we catch up to my age.
Okay, we'll catch up. We just passed mine, so.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank y'all for watching. We'll see you next time.
Have a blessed day.